Yes.
Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Turn a quorum. I'm going to call roll, and then if you'll indicate by saying here. Anderson, here. Morris? Here. Dickerson? Here. Lee? Here. Huggins? Here. Clayton?
Here.
Nude?
Here.
Burgess? Here. Smith? Here. Howard? Okay. And then non-voting members, I have Jenkins? Here. Kuhn? Here. Robinson? Robinson, are you on, you there? I think she is.
I am.
Okay. Untamed? Here. Green? Here. Okay, do I have any other voting or non-voting members of the board on the call?
Summers.
Summers, okay. Anybody else? Okay, and then staff,
We have Barry Walker.
Mr. Walker, are you on the phone? You are, okay. Welcome, Mr. Walker. Okay, and then staff, we have Paige, Don, health staff, and whoever else support staff is on the call, please.
I've got Roslyn, Michelle,
Items,
Eric,
information,
Crystal,
not uniform, and for the board,
and Ron, this is
Okay. Okay. Is Franny on today or not?
We have
I
Mr.
Okay. Okay. So, yes, sir.
Do we have a representative from Red Dead on?
I'll let Don answer. They're not part of the staff, so, they should be on when we get to that part of the call, so. Okay, so, I determined that we do have a quorum. We have 9 voting members, in attendance. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
I have a motion from.
Mayor Barry Walker.
is
And,
now joining.
hi, Barry. Hey,
Okay.
Barry. Okay, I have a motion for Colonel Leaks, and I have a second for Ms. Dickerson. Any, discussion? Okay, barring none, all those in favor indicate by voting yes. When I read your name. Anderson, yes. Morris. Yes. Dickerson.
Yes.
Keith.
Yes.
Huggins.
Unknown participant
Yes.
is now joining.
Leeson.
Yes.
Nude.
Yes.
Burgess. Yes. 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 Okay, Mr. Howard, if you join the call. Okay, so we'll move on to Midland Transit Riders District. Midland Transit
Is now
Riders.
joining.
I'm sorry, who just joined?
Howard.
Oh, hey, Representative Howard. Well, hey, Representative Howard, Representative, join the call. Please. Okay, so we are on, Representative Howard, we're on item 3. Donna, do we have an NCRA rep on the phone?
We do not.
Okay. Okay, next up is call to the public. Individuals wishing to address the board. Do we have any members from the public
No, that's
wishing
not
to
public.
address the board?
We do not have anyone for the call to the public.
Okay. Okay, presentation, play the month for Trans-7 Transport Fair. Are we gonna do that today, John?
I'll just give a quick summary on that, as I've been doing, and once we get back to in-person meetings, we'll bring back all of the folks from March to receive their awards. Page. One second, Mr. Chairman, I apologize.
prepared for that. Why don't we do that right now?
I have it ready here. I apologize. I thought it was in the package, and it's not.
It's on page 6.
So for the month of May from Transdev, it's Tyrone Gambrell. He's presently acting as the interim operations manager. He's been a bus operator here since 1993, going back to SCE&G. And he's always willing and ready to lend a hand when a shift needs to be covered and acts as a good mentor as a road supervisor. And then for Transport Care Services, it's William Tyler. He's been a driver since 2015, and he's a real team player, and the riders and the staff love working with him. That's my report.
Well, thank you. So I'm going to step a little bit out of order. I want to recognize two new advisory board members, Mr. Green, I believe you're a council member from CUS Columbia.
That's correct.
And welcome, and Mayor Barry Walker, who's mayor of the town of Irvine. I'd like to welcome you.
Hey. Thank you very much. I'm welcome, glad to be here.
Great, we are thrilled to have y'all, and appreciate your participation. Okay, consent calendar is the next item up. Can I get a motion? I'm not gonna read the whole thing, you have it on the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
I have a motion for Ms. Dickerson. Can I get a second?
Second.
I have a second for Ms. Moon. I have a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar. Any discussion? Okay, barring none, indicate by voting, saying yes or no, yea or nay when I call your name. Anderson, yes. Morris? Yes. Dickerson?
Yes.
Teague? Yes. Huggins? Yes. Stevens?
Yes.
Moon?
Yes, and I believe the second was from Ms. Sweeten, Ron.
Oh, I'm sorry, is that correct, Ms. Lee?
Yes.
Okay, let the record be corrected, please, Paige.
I got it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Moon. Ms. Burgess, yea or nay? Oh, yes. Smith? Yes. Howard? Yes. Okay, motion passed. Okay, item 7, other discussion and action items. Public hearing for a time for FCA section 5310 time. Ms. Hanson, want to give us a quick explanation, if need, and then I will open the hearing.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. If you recall at the last regular scheduled board meeting, I had asked for the board to approve a resolution based on a public hearing on some 5310 funds through SCDOT. Upon further clarification, the notification was not properly advertised, and that is entirely on me. But we are not missing any deadline or anything like that. We have gone forward and re-advertised it correctly. And we are coming forward today asking for the board to rescind the original, what is it called? Rescind the original and move forward approving a new resolution for just Lexington County for the 5310 funds through SCDOT Rural.
Okay, so, Ms. Baker, as a point of order, do we need, because it's, so do we need to first rescind, take a vote, then open the public hearing, then close the public hearing, take another vote? Okay, so, did everybody understand what we've got to do?
Say that again, Ron.
Did everybody understand the order? So we're gonna need to to take two votes.
I make a motion to rescind the previous action.
Make a motion from Ms. Booth, and a second from Ms. Lee. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, barring none, indicate by voting yes, when I say yea or nay when I read your name. Anderson, yes. Morris?
Yes.
Dickerson?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Huggins? Yes. Whedon?
Yes.
Mood?
Yes.
Burgess? Yes. Yes. Howard? Yes. Okay, motion passes. Okay, I'd like to open the public hearing, for applying for FCA Section 5310 funds, certifying to the governor that there are no nonprofit providers that provide transportation services in rural Richland and Lexington counties for seniors, persons with disabilities. My motion, hearing is open. Is there anyone here to speak on the hearing?
Yes, we have one speaker, and I'll let him introduce himself.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name's Andrew Boozer, Executive Director of Senior Resources here in Columbia.
Take the chair.
Hey, Holly, here.
Yeah.
Yeah, make sure all phones are muted.
Yes. Everybody can mute, and if, the speaker, I didn't catch your name, if you could start over, please.
Yes, my name is Andrew Boozer, Executive Director at Senior Resources in Columbia. I speak today to inform that we do intend to serve rural Richland County through the 5310 applications through the Department of Transportation, and we have initiated said applications to provide this service in Richland County. And so there is in Richland County a nonprofit within the scope of the grant to provide these services, and we do intend to do so. So I'm here to speak on that. Also, I'm going to throw in a point of personal privilege. I want to thank John Ando and the comment team for working with Senior Resources over these last number of weeks with the Columbia Lead Policy Committee for helping us provide emergency senior meals to senior citizens in Richland County. So while I have the floor, I wanted to express my sincere gratitude to John and the comment team and TransDev for helping us with that service.
Okay, thank you. John, or Michelle, I'm confused on what we're doing.
So let me clarify. So in light of the fact that we have a nonprofit provider that's able to provide the services in rural Richland County, we're asking the board to pass the resolution to allow us to provide this service in rural Lexington County only. Under the STA 5310, if a nonprofit provider steps up to provide the services that we're proposing to do, as a public transit agency, we have to step aside.
I got it. Okay. So, is there anyone else here to speak on the public hearing?
No, that's it.
Okay. So I'm going to close the public hearing. So, does everybody so what we're going to need is a motion to approve, application of SDA Section 5310 funds up for rural Lexington County. Okay?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'd just like to ask one question for clarification here. We'll be providing services all of Richland County except the city of Columbia and Forest Acres. I mean, he'll be up in Blythewood and down in Lower Richland, the whole county, right? That's the person who's going to provide service to Richland County.
Well, the purpose of this application is for the rural Richland County. For the urban Richland County, there's a different process for that, and that's managed by the Council of Government. So the person who is here from Senior Resources stated that he will provide the transportation throughout all of rural Richland County.
Rural is defined by the FDA, Mr. Colonel, not rural as in how you or I might define it.
So that's Eastover, Gadsden, Hopkins, and some of the extreme areas around the Columbia urbanized area.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so understand what we're doing. Can I get a motion to approve,
Mr. Chair, make a motion to approve.
Okay, I have a motion from Ms. Dickerson. Can I get a second?
Already second.
Second from Dr. Morris. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, barring none, all those vote yea or nay when I call your name. Anderson, yes. Morris?
Yes.
Dickerson?
Yes.
Teague?
Yes.
Huggins?
Yes.
Eaton?
Yes.
Booth?
Yes.
Burgess?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Okay, great. Motion passed. Okay, next up is, 7B, adopt safety performance target, position to PM call. Dr. Trent.
Good afternoon. Information that I'm presenting is found on page 278 through 288 of the board packet. The comment is required to implement and comply with the Public Transit Agency Safety Plan, and the final rule is found at 49 CFR Part 673. Information was shared at the February Board of Directors meeting regarding the development of the safety plan, and this document is currently underway and should be available for review next month. A component of the safety plan is the inclusion of the safety performance targets, and SCDOT has requested that we coordinate with the Central Midlands Council of Government regarding the safety performance targets that we established. In developing the COMET safety performance targets, we examined data for the past 5 calendar years from 2015 to 2019 for fixed route and paratransit. Now, in the packet, we included only 3 years of data, but we have updated that information to include 5 years. We looked at data reported through the National Transit Database, such as fatalities, injuries, other major safety events, such as collisions involving towaway, property damage of $25,000 or more, and evacuations due to hazardous conditions. We also considered the rate of activities per vehicle revenue miles, and this is in accordance with the federal regulations. Another item included in the safety performance target was system reliability. This will be the miles between the road calls. After analyzing the data, we observed that the COMET had not experienced any fatalities and major injuries during the past 5 years. And therefore, we established the performance target as follows. For fatalities, we're looking at 0. For injuries, 0. Safety events, 0. And for the rate per vehicle miles, we're looking at 100,000, which is the standard based on the size of our transit system. And for system reliability, we established 15,000 miles between road calls, and we selected this number because it's already included in our contract. Now, the safety performance targets are just a baseline. We will continue to review and make adjustments as needed. There's no penalty at the federal level if the targets are not achieved. And as I mentioned earlier, we're required to coordinate with the Central Midlands Council on Government on these performance targets. Based on the information that I'm presenting, I'm just asking that you adopt the safety performance targets so that the COMET can comply with the Public Transit Agency Safety Plan final rule found at 49 CFR Part 673, and which includes coordination with the Central Midlands Council of Government.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Dr. Trent.
You're welcome.
We understand what we're doing. Can we get a motion to approve the safety
So
chart?
moved.
I have a motion from Ms. Burgess. Can I get a second?
Second. I second it.
A second from Ms. Clayton. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I'd like to ask a
All right,
question.
then. Yes, sir, Colonel Lee. Go ahead.
I'm looking at the fixed route, zero fatalities, zero injuries. I'm just wondering now, last week or sometime I saw that bus was in a collision, and I'm just wondering about those. Did we have any injuries? I'm thinking next year's report is going to have not be this stellar.
I did check with our safety person with Transdale, and she indicated that we did not meet the threshold of the $25,000. But as I mentioned earlier, we'll continue to monitor and see if there's any injuries or fatalities that's above the 25,000. So we may have to make adjustments in the future. But as of now, she indicated that it did not meet the threshold of $25,000 for the property damage. You're welcome.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, barring none, indicate by your vote by saying yea or nay when I read your last name. Anderson, yes. Morris? Yes. Dickerson?
Yes.
Steve? Yes. Huggins?
Yes.
Seaton?
Yes.
Nude?
Yes.
Burgess? Yes. Smith?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, next up is, seven, adopt resolution 2020-04, regarding all contracts approved by board for between 17, 18, 19, and 20. Mr. Anderson.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, per our procurement and contract administration policy, the board shall approve by resolution all CMRTA contracts regardless of dollar threshold, except for contracts for standard commercial supply services or construction that are less than $250,000. From my research, it appears that when the policy was changed in 2017, the board has not adopted these contracts by resolution. So we're asking for the board to adopt all of the contracts listed on pages 289 and 290, so we can incorporate this into resolution. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
John, can you explain the difference between what we did and a resolution?
So in the past, when the board has adopted these contracts, the board just simply adopted it by voice vote, but it wasn't documented in a resolution. So I went back to all the contracts from when Dr. Schneider was here to present and listed those so that we can comply with the policy that has been adopted by the board.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, this is just a matter of format more than content?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Yes, sir, Mr. Burgess. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If we've already approved these contracts, why would we be approving them, getting some of it, or even members of the board in 2017?
It's from three, we're just approving them in the form of a resolution as opposed to the approval that we gave before. Hey, can everybody mute your phone when you're not talking, please? There's a lot of background noise, so. Okay, any other questions?
Just real quick, this is Andy.
Yes.
So going forward, every contract that we approve will be in the form of a resolution.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
yes, sir.
can we add in that is nothing new in this resolution for its contract?
Sure. I don't know why not.
I'm sorry, what was the statement, so I can make sure we got it for the record?
Ms. Burgess, can you repeat what you wanted to do?
Yes, but there's no new item listed in this resolution.
Yes, sir.
He's saying there's nothing new in there. Now, list of my items, Ms. Burgess, and with the dates that we approved them.
Okay, yeah. Mr. Chairman, that's, Mr. Burgess's request is fine. If you do agree.
Can I get a motion to that effect?
I so moved.
So you move to adopt the resolution, right?
Yes, as listed in our packet,
Okay, and not to include anything not listed.
with no addition, right?
Okay. Okay, I have a motion from Ms. Booth. Can I get a second?
All right, second.
I have a second from Dr. Morris. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, barring none.
Discussion from Huggins. I need to, I need to hear again the directive of this contract, because I need to know if I need to recuse myself.
There's no contract related to university in this.
Yes. Okay, Colonel Lee, yes, sir.
Just want to make sure that, I see the 250,000 is still here. I thought one time we lowered that to 100,000. Is that appropriate here, or that is not included?
No, these are all things we've already approved. All we're doing is approving them in a form of a motion, of a resolution.
Okay.
We're not changing any rules or anything, we're just getting in compliance with our own rules. The rules say we have to do it in the form of a resolution.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I got any other further discussion? Okay, are you none, indicate by saying yea or nay when I call your name. Anderson, yes. Morris? Yes. Dickerson?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Huggins? Yes. Wheaton?
Yes.
Mood?
Yes.
Burgess? Yes. Smith? Yes. Howard?
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. Okay, next up is, item D, review and adopt fiscal year operations and capital budget subject to acceptance by member agency government. Going to take it from here, please.
Hello, can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, so my presentation starts on page 293 of your packet. You guys, I think you got it enough time, so I won't go through all of the details, but it's here in front of you. But as defined by the South Carolina law, chapter 5, the common is required to send its budget, operating and capital budget, to the board and its member agencies and seek approval. So here we're recommending that the board of directors adopt our proposed 2021 fiscal year operating and capital budget to help rebuild our ridership. We're going to reduce our fixed route service hours to 158,000 from the current 175,000. In here, so if you're looking, I sent the presentation over to Paige. Paige, is it on the screen for everybody to see?
No, but I'll get it there.
Okay. Let me know when it's up and I'll start.
I can't hear.
I was waiting for Paige to get up up a quick presentation, kind of summarizes where we're going. So most of you already know a little background on the comment, so I won't go over that. But here's the comment in a snapshot. Paige, do you have it up?
I'm getting it. Hold 1 second. Sorry. I've got it's loading.
Mr. Chair, who's going to see that presentation? If we're on the phone.
Yeah.
Well, most of what I'm going to go over, Mr. Fergus, is in that letter that's attached to, starting on page 293. So there's nothing different. I was just kind of highlighting, pulling some things out in the presentation. But it's just to point out that we have about 35 routes. So I can say some of the information you guys know off the top of your head. So it's just reiterating it and kind of just letting you know what's impacted in the budget.
Mr. Chair.
Sorry about that, I was muted. Yes, sir. Sorry, Ms. Burgess.
That's all right. There was a lot of information that we read through, but a lot of additional stuff. I'd like to make a motion that we return that to the Finance Committee and let them rehash that and give us a refined product to vote on.
Well, okay, I have a motion to return this to finance.
Second. Morris, second.
A second from Dr. Morris, okay? I guess I have a question. Didn't finance already approve the budget?
Finance reviewed the budget, and they said they approved it in concept, but they wanted to send it to the board for full discussion. So finance got the same information that the board is getting, so I guess I'm confused on why we're sending it back to finance.
Yeah, Dr. Morris, you think I'm gonna let you elaborate on what you're thinking.
Well, my thoughts were that I think the board
should have reviewed it and give us some advice or express their opinions. And I didn't feel comfortable with 4 members of the finance committee recommending that we approve this budget without the other 6 board members having some input.
Okay. So how would you like the input, Dr. Morris?
Well, I think, yeah, I think what the members of the board could do could either email information to me or Mr. Andor after they have had opportunity to review the budget. Now, I don't think that most of the board members had adequate time to review this budget. There are a lot of additional funds that we are asking the board, the comments to spend, and we need the input of the entire board before we make these decisions.
Okay. Okay, so John.
Mr. Chairman?
Hold on 1 second, Ms. Booth. John, is there any reason that the timing, we're gonna mess up the timing if we do that? When does this have to be done by?
Well, we have to, in order to operate for next fiscal year, we have to have it approved by June 30. And, but we have to also have the member agencies 60 days prior to the end of the fiscal year. So we've started that process. So if there's going to be changes, we'll have to restart the cycle to the member agency.
Okay, but as long as we don't change anything, we're all right, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Dr. Morris, that means you're gonna need to have a special call meeting to get this passed, and we'll have to have a special call meeting to approve the budget. If we send this back to y'all.
But I want to get a question in whenever I get a chance.
Yeah, I'll get you a second, Curly. Do you understand what's gonna need to happen, Dr. Morris? Are you good with that?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with having a special call board meeting. We just have to indicate to board members, we need to review this thoroughly and get input to Mr. Andor or myself.
Okay, okay. Colonel Lee, you got a question?
Yeah.
I had a question too.
Okay, Ms. Mood, I got it.
Okay, I'm concerned about the inclusion of a share freeze. I thought we had voted back in January or February, we weren't gonna have share freeze passage here. I know we're doing it now because of the pandemic, but we're doing that only for one reason, to protect the drivers when passengers come in. So it looks to me like, I'm just wondering how that gets included in the budget, and if we can afford to go without the 2.7 mil, that's what it was last year, 2.7 mil in camp collection, and we got a series of problems that this carefree is causing. I'd like to discuss that too.
Okay, I would encourage you to email Don and Dr. Morris that your thoughts can include in the finance committee meeting, okay?
I think I did.
I would say, all the board members need to review this and get it to us within a week.
Okay.
Where will we discuss these things?
Well, the finance committee is gonna discuss them, and then it'll come back to the board as a whole.
Well, okay.
When you understand, I like to make a statement.
Yes, sir, I'll put down after Ms. Booth. Okay. Ms. Booth, you're up.
Okay, it sounds like what we're proposing here is a pretty convoluted process, because my understanding is that the finance committee received the budget first, and what the board expects is a recommendation from the finance committee. And now what I'm hearing is that the finance committee doesn't want to make a recommendation to the board without a recommendation from the board to the finance committee. So it seems to me like this has gotten a little garbled, because if the finance committee feels like they did not want to take a position on the budget, they wanted the whole board to do it, then that's what's before us now. And all of us have had the material in the budget, and if what we're being asked to do now is review that material, I thought that's what we were asked to do for the board meeting today. Now, if what we're saying is that we need an extension to review it more thoroughly, I mean, I guess we could do that, but I think we've met all of the timing requirements. And it just feels like we're, shifting this ball back and forth an extra couple of times with no real purpose other than the board is being asked to read the material and vote our conscience on what we've been given.
Okay.
So I don't see the necessity of the proposal that's before us right now.
Okay. Mr. Burgess?
Yes. This budget request started out with free fare. Now, free fare was rejected in the service committee, and we see it again. We got CARES Act funding to put in shields to protect drivers, and we've used them for operating. We've never discussed that as a board. And I'm reading for recommending reduce the routes in Richland County and increase service in Lexington and Newburgh. That wasn't discussed in the service committee. So this budget we have really needs to be gone over with a fine-tooth comb and to put our revenue back in order.
Okay. Anybody else have any discussion?
Madam Chair, this is Huggins.
Is anybody else up? Yeah, you're next.
Huggins?
Yeah, go ahead. Here.
Okay, this is what we have to realize more than anything else, that this is the time. And we're saying you're moving in a different way to a point where we don't know what's happening week to week. And I will concur with Dr. Morris, because we need to slow things down to a point, because everything is not definitive at this point. So I would like to be in a situation where I work with staff, or we work with staff, the board work with staff, just to make sure that we're moving in the right kind of way, because this is different times. So I concur with Dr. Morris. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to say?
I would have one more comment, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, when we decided that we were not ready to do a year's worth of fare-free service initially, here's my understanding of the budget that we received. The proposal for fare-free service for this budget period was in fact to be covered by the COVID-19 fund, and because it serves a purpose for protecting the drivers. The reason we initiated fare-free was so that passengers could enter the buses through the rear entrance and did not have to expose the driver and have the time and the money exchanged. I agree with Mr. Huggins that we are in a time of uncertainty. But for right now, as far as any of us can see, there's no end to this need to protect the drivers, and the budget that maps out how we will operate the system with the funds that we have and protect the drivers is the best choice we can make right now. I'm thinking that if we approve this budget and then several months down the road, we find that magically the virus is gone away and all the threats are gone, there's nothing that keeps this board from reinstating fares. But for as well as we can see right now, these are conditions that we have, and these are the funds we have to cover it. And so I don't think, I mean, at least for me, pouring over that again isn't going to change either one of those things. The virus is still here. We still have to protect the drivers. We have a way to cover the cost of the service without fares, and not charging fares helps protect the drivers. And I don't see a need for us to, I mean, I can't think what our rereading this again is going to change.
Okay.
Chairman,
Mr. Two?
Wait. Okay, hold on. I got Joyce and I've got Eric.
Am I recognized, Mr. Chair?
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Dickerson.
Okay, yes, sir, Mr. Chair, I certainly have to agree with Ms. Mood on this. We have, all of us are very inundated with our time and things like this. We have the finances. We can always go back like we do on the road and amend this if we have to. Right now, I do not personally see why we should prolong this any longer. I've reviewed the package, and I feel like when we get these packages, we go through them, and if we have any questions, we can ask those questions prior to the board meeting. And if we still have questions, then we can, continue to ask them. But right now, I can't see where I will have any additional time to participate in any additional financial meetings, special call meetings. My calendar is full with budgets and everything, so I don't see why we need to prolong it, and I will not be able to support prolonging this and sending it back to finance. We can amend it down the road. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Dickerson. Mr. Huggins.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
How to re-entering the. This is Huggins.
Mr. Huggins, well,
Huggins or Howard? I'm not sure who wanted to speak, if it was Huggins or Howard.
Howard. Okay, all right. The thing I look at more than anything else is that, we don't know what's happening legally. I would like to get the care of finance opportunity to put this thing back on and study it a few more minutes before we, I want to apply care of finance, what he wants to do.
Any other discussion? Any other,
I want you to say, we keep saying about the CARES fund and how they're to be used. Now, those funds are to protect drivers, anything related to COVID-19. In addition to that, we've talked about protecting the drivers, but we hadn't talked very much about how we're going to protect the pensioners. And I'm going to tell you, this carefree situation is causing problems that we did not foresee. For instance, do you know that right now we're having to put 2 buses on one route because of the distance? We can only put 20 people on the bus. And so what we're going to do, if we continue this fare-free, no collection of fares, we're going to run out of buses.
I'll tell you, reentering.
Very slowly, if you follow.
Okay. Yeah.
What I
Okay.
think.
I'm gonna go ahead and call a question. We have a motion on the floor, which is to send it back to finance, and we have a second. Dr. Morris has agreed to expedite it through. Everyone will send their comments to John and Dr. Morris with questions and such. So I don't know that, we're gonna use our time to belabor it today. Let's go ahead and, have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, indicate does everybody understand the motion, which is to send the budget back to finance? Okay?
Yes.
Indicate by saying yea or nay when I call your name. Anderson? Yes. Morris? Yes. Dickerson?
No.
Lee?
Yes.
Huggins?
Yes.
Leeson?
Yes.
Mood?
No.
Burgess? Yes. Smith?
No.
Howard?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Okay, next up on the agenda is, amend section 8.1 of the bylaws, Iowa state law. Ms. Heiser's not on, Ms. Baker or Ms. Heiser handle it?
Ms. Baker will handle.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think all of you should have received, a memo from, Ms. Heiser John, was that, provided or emailed to everybody at that,
Yeah, the memo is on page 384, and then Ms. Heiser, sent yesterday a revised, change for 8.1 for consideration.
And I think, mainly this is just to make the language, more consistent with, to remove any ambiguity. And I think what she did was, after that, she proposed the, amended language. So, unless you have questions about the language, I think her explanation is pretty straightforward.
Ms. Baker or John, this is the one you want us to pass. I have three things for granted. I want to make sure we're all looking at the same piece of paper.
Please.
Mr. Chair, when you get there.
Yeah, hold on 1 second, Mr. Curtis. I want to make sure we're all looking at the same piece of paper, okay?
So the proposed amendment is, was sent on Tuesday, and it's proposed amendment to sections 8.1 and 8.2.
So John, I have two things to say that. In Brandy's email, I have the three documents. One of them is Doc 435-40124, the other is 435-C9995.
9995.
Okay.
Oh, I don't even have that.
So if everybody can take a second and make sure that's the document you're looking at, so we're all talking about the same piece of paper.
So where do we find that number?
It was in the file name. John, is it in the packet?
It is not. I'm gonna re-email it out right now. Just in
All right,
case.
this is the one that was sent yesterday at 2:12 p.m.?
Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah.
Chair.
Hold on, Ms. Curtis. Okay, I'm gonna get to you.
You should have received an email yesterday around 3:12 p.m. from Ms.
Okay.
Heiser. I have
Okay,
it.
hold on. Okay, hold on, everybody, 1 second. Ms. Curtis, you've been waiting patiently.
Yes, I'm saying if we're changing documents and nobody seems to have it, how don't we defer this thing so everybody can get it on the same?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask that question too, John. Since we have a lot of confusion, we didn't get this out of the packet, is that pressing or can it be wait?
It could defer to, perhaps the meeting next week.
Or July? I mean, can it wait?
Or July.
Is there a reason that?
No,
No reason to.
no, it could wait.
Okay.
Just go ahead and say, this is Huggins, go ahead and just table, please.
Yes, but table.
Hold on, I need a motion to defer the item.
Huggins,
Okay, I have a motion from Mr. Huggins to defer this item.
I second it.
And I second it. Any discussion? Okay, indicate by saying your name when I call your name. Anderson, yes. Morris? Yes. Dickerson?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Huggins?
yes.
Wheaton?
Yes.
Hughes?
Yes.
Burgess? Ms. Burgess?
Yes.
Okay, Smith?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Okay. Motion passed. Next up, motion period, Randy?
And Mr. Chair, I'm getting ready to have to go to a doctor's appointment. But let me say one thing, I want to say, I appreciate the staff working as hard as they are. They're going through several times, and a lot of things are going up, coming down, and I just want to let them know that we fully support them 100%.
Very much so.
Mayor Barry Walker.
Is now exiting.
Thank you. Okay? Okay, so, any motion?
Yes. Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir, and that's Ms. Curtis?
Yes, I'd like to move that we remove the requirements of 150 or more trained equivalent bus operators that, Mr. Burgess? I didn't understand you.
Yeah, I didn't understand.
So that we remove the requirement in the RFP of 150 or more full-time equivalent bus operators in a union environment within the last 8 years on our key personnel. In RFP.
I don't think
I was
it's
gonna say-
an RFP.
So, okay, hold on. Well, first of all, we can't take any action in the motion period, okay? So all we can do is refer it to a committee. Second, so Ms. Baker, you're talking about, Mr. Burgess, you're talking about an RFP. Well, Ms. Baker, do you understand what he wants to do, and can you respond?
I guess I'm confused. If he's talking about the RFP that we just completed that process on, I don't think that we can amend that RFP. If this is a future RFP, that hasn't gone out, I think that could happen.
Chair, we can remove that requirement on the key personnel, because we have control of the key personnel all through the contract.
Is that stated, is that amendable inside the contract, so we don't be finalized the contract?
As far as I know, we have.
Yeah, I mean, John, have we finalized the contract?
Yeah, contract finalized and signed.
I'd like to have legal say that between the parties, we can't amend that RFP, that requirement.
But with the RFP, we be amending the contract, Mr. Burgess.
Right, it would be amending the contract, and if the amendment to the contract is considered a cardinal change, I think we would be violating our own procurement policy.
So why don't we do this? We can't do any action on it today. Why don't we refer this to the executive committee, and we'll try to meet in June and discuss it at that point, or address it at that point.
So are we just referring this as a question to the executive committee, not a motion?
Yeah, we can't take action
Mr.
on
Chair,
it today anyway.
I'm being told that parties to a contract can't amend a contract. I'm being told.
There are terms, there's a way you can amend the contract, but we need to send it to the executive committee to explore that.
There are certain things that you can amend with the contract. I guess the question is whether what you're proposing is one of those things, and it might be helpful if you could maybe, put in writing exactly what it is that you would like to have changed in the contract so we can kind of understand it better.
Put it in the motion. Don't have anything to add other than what was said in the motion.
I guess I'm just trying to, the contract is over like 150 pages. I need to know what provisions in the contract you're wanting to have changed.
Well, we're not gonna be able to dispose of this today, so let's, the motion would be to refer this to the executive committee.
Let's table it, Chair, can we table this to a question and let Attorney Baker do her work?
Well, we need to have a way to solve this motion, so either, I have a motion on the floor, can I get a second, or are we gonna?
I'll second it, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Maybe the board, in my opinion, didn't do what was right. We're saying that you have to have, in order to earn a position as a manager, with the new contractor, you have to have 150, have worked with 150 union personnel or 8 years experience. And if that's the case, we've never done that. Even our ED didn't have any ED experience, and we hired him. So
I respectfully disagree with you on that, Dr. Morris. I do have executive director experience.
I don't need, any comment from you, TD.
Thank you. So, hey, guys, so what we need to do is we have a motion to send it to executive, we have a motion to send it to executive committee, and then we'll go and deal with it there. And we're not gonna be able to resolve it today, not allowed to. That's all we can do is send it to executive committee. I have a motion to send it to executive, and the motion is to examine the question of whether we can change the requirement for the minimum number of hours for one of the key personnel in the contract. Is that correct, Ms. Burgess?
Now, that's all the personnel.
Okay, so it's to apply to all of the key personnel.
That's correct.
The motion is to refer that question of whether that could be changed in the contract to the executive committee. Okay, and I have that motion, and I have a second. Paige, do you have the motion recorded?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, Brian, down to indicate by saying yea or nay when I call your name. Anderson, yes. Morris?
Yes.
Dickerson?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Hogan?
Yes.
Clayton?
Yes.
Mood?
No.
Burgess?
Yes.
Smith?
No.
Howard?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Burgess, do you have any other motion?
That's it.
Okay, anybody else have any motion? Okay, next up is progress report. Those are informational only. Last one is, let's see, does anybody have questions on progress report? Okay, if not, we're going to item 10, legal professional personnel. The 3 items on here, one of them is legal advice related to the Department of Revenue lawsuit. The second is related to Richland County penny issue. And the third is just compensation of an employee, Mr. Duchesne. Okay,
Mr. Chairman, before we get to a motion to go into executive session, I just have a question. Is our workshop still on the agenda for next week, and will we be doing that by telephone also?
We are having the workshop is next week, beginning at 9 a.m. on Wednesday.
Unknown participant is now exiting.
We are planning to do it in person.
So we'll be getting some information on how that will happen.
Yes, ma'am, we're gonna have everybody spread out and ask everybody to wear a mask.
Unknown participant is now
Without
exiting.
any additional instructions.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Morris. Is there an option, Jenkins?
Is now
Is
exiting.
there an option to, having the meeting, after comment? We couldn't, have on the phone also?
Yeah, you can be on the phone or attend in person either way, but we're gonna try to have it go back to meeting in person.
All right, thank you.
Yes,
Mr. Chair,
okay.
Mr. Chair, I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to participate in person. I will be on the phone.
Okay, that's fine. I know everybody has a different comfort level with that, and everybody gets to make that choice.
Well, I guess the reason I was raising the question is because, I think all of us know or experiencing how difficult it is to have discussions via phone. And I just, I'm wondering if in this time of transition to the new contract, if the timing on the workshop is so urgent that it could not be delayed.
No, it's better than, we have a contractual meeting matter we need to discuss, and then we have house committee to do, so, yeah.
Okay.
So, yes, sir.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, Huggins, I've got, Mr. Burgess first.
No, I was just wondering, because we never did, get the, rep, representative identified. I wanted to do that before we go into executive session.
You wanted to get what, which representative?
The representative, from Rapdale that's supposed to be calling in before we go into executive session.
Were you able to get him on, get a representative from RTD on the phone?
I've advised him, and I gave him the information. However, he said he wasn't sure because he's gonna be flying, because he's coming in to meet with us tomorrow. So I'll ask if Matt Budenbach is on the line.
Mr. Chair,
Hold on, Dr. Morris. Hold on, Dr. Morris. John, can we arrange something different?
I'm sorry?
Opportunity. Can we arrange another call to meet with him?
Yes.
Yes.
He's gonna, tomorrow. Go ahead.
Well, why don't we try to find an hour that suits everybody, where we could do a Q&A session with the representative RTD?
Do you want that on the agenda for next week?
How about tomorrow? How about tomorrow? If he's coming in, let's do it tomorrow.
Do you have time tomorrow, John?
To schedule a board meeting to talk to RATP Dev?
Mr. Chair?
Joy. Yeah.
Okay.
Help me understand, I guess I didn't understand the request. Are you wanting a formal?
No, what I was asking, can we do a question and answer meet and greet?
We can, but it has to be advertised as a board meeting.
And so we don't have time?
And we have to agendize it. And if we want to do it, we have to do a 24-hour notice of posting that agenda.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
If this is a new contractor coming in, I don't think, once again, let's go to legal. If the board members to talk to a new contractor, we have to schedule a board meeting?
Yeah. Want to comply with, FOIA, yes, we'd have to, if it's gonna be a quorum, if it's gonna participate, I think you would have to follow those procedures.
So, we do have another meeting in a week, Mr. Burgess, can we do it then?
My reason, want a representative on, because that key personnel should be on board by June the 1st. So that impacts my motion. And.
Well, actually, in relation to your concern about the key personnel, they've already identified somebody that meets the RFP requirements. So, consistent with the process, we'll be presenting that through the committees and then to the board.
I'm more concerned on those that were rejected and their reasons why.
Those people have been,
Hold on.
those people have been reassigned.
Okay, so we can't fix it today, he's not here, tomorrow doesn't work. How about we get an hour next week where we can talk to the guy in the meeting? Okay?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir. Dr. Morgan.
Maybe we can get some information, through the ED. My concern is that at the panel, discussion, they said that they would hire the individuals who were present there. Now, have they changed their mind?
Yes.
And do they have the right to change their mind? Tell you one thing, and change their mind later?
So the persons who were at the panel did not meet the RFP requirements. RATP Dev acknowledged that, and they proposed somebody else who had. So those people that were originally proposed have been reassigned somewhere else.
But if that's the case, then the service committee has been involved with that, and some of this was done before we approved the contract. Am I correct?
Yes.
John,
If you want to know, who's the note from?
Mr. Burgess, that was Ms. Mood. Colonel Leaks had already raised this, and what we agreed to do was, the new candidates, resumes, and the ones that we tossed out would be reviewed at the service committee meeting. So, Ms. Dickerson, go ahead.
I'm okay, I'm fine, because I know tomorrow just definitely wouldn't work for me, because we got a land code, meetings tomorrow, and the board, so I won't be able to participate tomorrow.
Okay. Mr. Huggins, Mr. Huggins, you were asking a question?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
we all know this is a very difficult time, and I know we have agenda, we have to move, and we have vision that we have to accomplish. But it comes to a point where we have to slow things down and start to listen and not be too aggressive. And all I'm asking is for us to table the question, just move and give an opportunity for staff and board members to evaluate the document and move from there. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
Mr. Morris?
Ms. Ferguson. Yeah, hold on, Dr. Okay, yeah, Dr. Morris and then Ms. Ferguson.
Okay, my concern is this. I think what we went through with TransDev, I hope we don't have to go through this with RapDev, because a lack of communication. I think, ED needs to keep us up to date with what's going on, and we wouldn't have all these questions. Thank you.
Okay.
Chairman,
Ms. Ferguson?
Chairman,
Yeah. Ms. Howard, yes, sir.
I understand that the representative will be all,
He will be physically in Columbia tomorrow, yes.
and some board members will actually meet the representative, that will,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, question now, if it's not a quorum, I think the board members that won't be them,
Yeah, Ms. Baker, what was constant, a quorum would be 5?
I think that's
Okay. Yeah, so John, can you arrange a call in and just make sure there's no more than 4 board members on it?
a quorum is
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
and just identify the example, because you know, I don't think 5 board members going to be there. Probably gonna have 2 or 3.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I know I don't.
John, can you arrange that? John, can you arrange that?
Yeah, for which board members?
I think, why don't y'all reach out to John afterwards? Okay? Can everybody do that? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
3 board members, 3 officers of the board, reviewed them when they made their presentation, so it's an easy pick to say who should be there.
Okay, why don't you reach out to John if you're interested, how about that?
I agree.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Officer, we just, those who interested in it, to join.
Yeah. So if you're interested, after this meeting, reach out to John and John will make it happen. Everybody got it? Got it. Okay.
Chairman, restate what you're saying, please.
If somebody wants to meet with the representative of the new contractor, they'll be in Columbia tomorrow. After this meeting, reach out to John and he'll arrange, get him on the phone, you on the phone with him or meet him in person tomorrow.
Thank you.
That suit everybody?
As long as we're not for it.
Okay, yeah, just make sure we don't. I will do my part not to cause a quorum.
Okay.
John should be able to control the quorum, so, I mean, if y'all want to meet, if he can say if it's more than a quorum, then he can make that decision.
Yeah.
Well,
Keep it under 3, okay. Very good? Okay, I need a motion to go into executive session.
before we go into executive session, way you have worked diligently to make sure that this, all of this work in the right kind of way. So I just want to applaud you for that. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Okay, I have a motion from, Representative Howard. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Go ahead. Second from Dr. Morris. I have a motion from Representative Howard, second from, Dr. Morris. Any discussion? Okay, barring none, indicate by saying yea or nay when I call your name. Anderson, yes. Morris?
Yes.
Dickerson?
Yes, and I'm gonna have to leave